If you look at very large concepts that are starting to change in my world as a trend spotter to look at those things, the transient ownership thing is really big. So I'll give you a few case studies. The transient ownership in terms of car ownership, I say emphatically that probably by mid-century, car ownership will be a very, very quaint relic of the 20th century. People would wonder why on earth we actually wanted to own those cars, unless you're a petrol head and want that piece of machinery. Fundamentally and practically, it doesn't happen. So last year was the first emergence of that trend where housing estates on the outskirts of Paris, which were built in the 1960s and 1970s and 1980s, were built with huge underground parking lots with them. They have now been turned into urban mushroom farms because nobody parks there, because nobody buys cars anymore. So you're starting to see that ripple effect around the world. You're starting to see circular economies within the clothing retail industry, renting everything from your wardrobe to your furniture, in line with new digital nomads, a new working life for people that move around the planet. It doesn't make sense to buy assets, to buy a car, to buy that home, to buy even the clothes on your back, because there's a different way of doing things. So that's going to change fundamentally, and we're starting to see a real speed up within the last year, and new business models that form around that, starting to emerge and to mushroom up. Which then is a bellwether of change and a big red flag for people who are in finance or in financial services. So, if we don't own things, or ownership becomes less of an issue for people, then what happens to short-term insurance? You're already seeing the impact of parking lots, parking cars. All of the car manufacturers are pivoting their business models because they understand that by mid-century, car ownership is going to be an obsolete thing. So times are changing, very, very interestingly. And with that is the concept of what is wealth to people. And I think people have gone onto much more of an esoteric, spiritual idea of what is wealth and what makes them wealthy. Fundamentally, innovation and the disruptive era that we're living in does signal massive change, but that also signals massive opportunities. So, coming from somebody who tracks the future, I don't have a futurist view, and I don't like the speculative nature of what futurists do, is scaremonger people into saying, okay, the fourth industrial revolution and AI, all your jobs are going to be taken. Jobs will be lost, but the functionality of jobs, more importantly, is going to be reframed. So what you do as an accountant is still going to be accountant, but you might not be able, you might not have to fill out spreadsheets that some machine or algorithm will be able to do that. So the fundamentals of the job change, but also new jobs are being invented almost at a faster rate than jobs are being lost. So that's a moot point in terms of that kind of way of doing things. If you look at overall, if new jobs are being created, the newest companies, and even the more recent ones, and I'm talking in the last decade and a half, all have business models that pivot continually. So even the younger kind of tech companies, Twitter or Instagram or Netflix, all of those three companies within the last decade have completely changed direction of what they do, and therein lies those opportunities. It's trying things, it's simplifying things, and I think there's a big ripple effect with the fundamental change of business templates, because if that starts changing, then new jobs are created, but then also you bring into question, what is the real impact or value of an academic tertiary education versus short courses doing different things. So for me, looking at wealth is now looking at personal growth. So less of accumulating the hard cash and the bank balance. Obviously, you need the bank balance to be able to facilitate some of this stuff, but almost sometimes not necessary. And I get a lot of parents hounding me on the weirdest platforms, a picture of food on Instagram, and then I would be asked, my son/daughter is in matric, what must he or she study? And So it's a genuine unease of what's to come, but those opportunities are really there.